We're talking today about cardiorespiratory fitness. The gold standard for measuring cardiorespiratory fitness is to have you run on a treadmill with a face mask and measure your VO2 max. That's the amount of oxygen you can use during heavy exercise. But there's actually a much easier way of knowing your cardiorespiratory fitness, and that's with the device on your wrist. That is, if you wear a Fitbit or Apple Watch or similar device. These devices measure your approximate VO2 max, the approximate amount of oxygen you can use during heavy exertion. They give you a score, and it's a comparison to other people your age and of your gender. And it turns out that your cardiorespiratory fitness score is actually really important. One of the most important pieces of information you can glean from wearing a device. Cardiorespiratory fitness has been measured in a large study that showed that the better a person's cardiorespiratory fitness, in the study they were using a treadmill test, the lower their risk of death in the follow-up period. The elite performers, those with the highest level of fitness, had an 80% reduction in premature death in the follow-up period. Here's what I recommend. If you don't have a device that gives you a cardio fitness score, I recommend you get one. Then I recommend you wear the device. Some important things to get an accurate score. You want to make sure you wear the device 24 hours a day. The score is in part based on your resting heart rate, and you want your resting heart rate to be accurate. The way to do this is to make sure you wear your device while you're asleep. You also want to make sure you enter your gender and your age correctly in the device. And to get the most accurate score, go for a run using GPS to track your run outside on level surface for at least 10 minutes. This will give you a more precise cardio fitness score. So once you have an accurate reading, if your score is not in the top category for your age and gender, I recommend you work to get your cardio fitness score to that top level so you can enjoy the reduction in mortality that's been shown in the study I mentioned above. Now that you have an accurate score, here are my recommendations for how to improve your score. The three most effective ways are to, 1, increase your activity. This means engaging in regular exercise of moderate intensity. This will count as active minutes on your device, and it's the equivalent of brisk walking for at least 150 minutes per week. I also recommend that you walk at least 12,000 steps daily. Any recommendation I provide has evidence for improving lifespan. And finally, for increasing activity, limit your sitting to less than 8 hours a day and break up episodes of sitting that last longer than 30 minutes by standing up and taking at least a 1-minute break from sitting. And finally, to increase your heart rate regularly, use a sauna for 20 minutes 4 times weekly. Doing this increases lifespan. It will also improve your resting heart rate and your cardiac function. So the first recommendation are steps to increase your heart rate. The second recommendation is to lower your resting heart rate. The way to do this is to ensure you get at least 7 hours of sleep each night with a consistent bedtime, as well as treat any stress you have in your life. One helpful recommendation for decreasing stress in your life is to limit your use of screens, including smartphones and television. And finally, if you're overweight, meaning if your body mass index is greater than 25, or if you're Asian, if your BMI is greater than 23, I recommend you take steps to lose weight. Having a normal body mass index will improve your cardio fitness score. And what other numbers matter for longevity? In addition to VO2 max, I've spent over the past decade gathering the best evidence for how to live longer, and I've compiled a free download describing the 7 numbers to optimize lifespan. including BMI, systolic blood pressure, VO2 max, as well as specific targets for laboratory tests. I'm offering this free download here. You can click on the link to access your download below. Thank you for watching another episode of the HealthScore Longevity Report.